Hello and welcome to our webinar today. I'm excited to share the latest release of VoltMX Go. I'm joined today by Andrew, Michael, and Sharon, and we're really excited about the opportunity to give all of you some insight into our progress with VoltMX Go. Please utilize the question box to send us your questions at any time throughout the webinar, and we'll address them during our Q&A session as well as the webinar as it's going along here. So I'm excited to give you some insights into, first and foremost, our Domino customers today. We're proud to share that we still hold a very large presence of Domino globally, with over 10 million apps running on Domino, and is a core focus of our business. We are releasing version 14 in December, and there's a lot of new features coming to Domino. And when you registered for this webinar, we did ask you a few questions to better understand where you are with your Domino deployments. And we're so excited to hear that 80% of you are already on version 12 or plan to upgrade in the next 12 months. Even more exciting, 80% of you indicated that you plan to build more on Domino or will continue maintaining your existing apps over the next 3 years. And I think VoltMX Go will now give you more reasons to do more on Domino than ever. So what is VoltMX Go? It's powered by our multi-experience low-code platform, VoltMX. When we launched this back in 2020, we knew that this product would make an impact in low-code market. And today it's recognized by leading analyst firms like Gartner and Forrester. With VoltMX Go, we're bringing the power of VoltMX to help modernize and extend your Domino apps. So let's spend a moment and talk about the best of Domino and VoltMX. So back in version 12.02, we provided multiple ways to modernize your applications, such as Restyle, Domino REST APIs, or Nomad. VoltMX Go is a complementary approach that combines the best of both platforms, Domino and VoltMX, so you can do even more with your Domino apps than ever. We also see this as a continuation of our journey where both platforms work better together. VoltMX Go will allow you to first refresh your apps with new user interfaces, extend them with multi-experience capabilities, like native mobile, tablets, and even wearables. We've also made improvements around our enterprise integrations and are going to be leveraging the latest cutting-edge technologies like AR, VR, or AI. And you can achieve all of this in half the time, risk, and cost of a total rewrite. Now, before we deep dive into the details of how we do this, I was fortunate enough to speak with ISW, our business partner, who already has a customer in Australia leveraging VoltMX. So let's hear more from ISW about this case study. Hello, I'm joined here today by Adam Brown, the Director of Technology and Innovation for ISW, who are an HCL Platinum reseller. So I wanted to learn more from you about what you're hearing from your customers about VoltMX Go. And so I understand, if you can tell us more, you have one of your customers who recently purchased MX Go, who's also a longtime Domino customer.
Yeah, g'day, Richard. Absolutely. So look, we're finding there's a great response to the VoltMX Go offering. We've had, as you say, a number of customers already move their licensing from the more traditional Domino model to the VoltMX Go licensing, and yeah, we've had a number of customers do that, including a good-sized Australian government organisation. They've been, as you alluded to, a long-term Domino customer, probably going on 20 years now, I guess. Some of them are focused around like work group collaboration, sharing of information, communicating on projects, what have you. And then, of course, they have quite a few different, workflow style approval applications in the mix there as well. The consumers of applications, our end customers today, demand a beautiful user experience, intuitive user experience, and so they face the challenge of how do they achieve that without disrupting their current environment, without incurring significant cost and taking lots of time. It takes a brave CIO to rip and replace these applications that have been in an organization for decades. And it can be incredibly disruptive for them. So what VoltMX Go is delivering is really the capability for them to quickly deliver at a low cost, more modern applications, to be able to extend those applications out to field services, for example, to take advantage of the native capabilities. I mean, one of the fantastic features around VoltMX Iris is the ability to build these applications once and deploy and orchestrate across Android, iOS, web applications, what have you. So that's quite appealing. The other things that VoltMX Go is really delivering for them is with Foundry, the ability to integrate with all of their other back-end enterprise applications. They're a large organization, and so they have many other systems and applications, and have been able to bring those experiences together in a seamless manner is again incredibly powerful.
Look, I think everything you just said, and thank you, Adam, is right in line, by the way, with what we're hearing from other customers and other partners is, there's not only the cost impact, there's that risk side of it. Again, that journey of modernizing the Domino platform as we did Restyle and we've done Nomad and now we have VoltMX Go, you can see how we're aligning our broader modernization strategy around the Domino platform and customer base.
Other benefits that we're hearing is the choice that it enables people to have. Iris is a great IDE, and it enables people to have a WYSIWYG designer to share services and assets and what have you, and rapidly build some fairly sophisticated applications, and that's really powerful. That they don't have to throw away a 20-year investment in business process. There's so much knowledge that's gone into these applications. You just can't rebuild that. So being able to leverage it but still leverage modern development frameworks and things is fantastic.
Look, and I think again you just hit on another key thing is we want to ensure that our customers are able to still leverage those investments they've made in Domino for the last 5, 10, 20 years. And we appreciate your partnership, sir, and it's always great to see you. Thank you. So as you saw from the video, we're already seeing great traction with VoltMX Go. And our customers and partners are reaping those benefits as well. What we're hearing from our customers and partners is that they're truly excited about, first, modernizing those applications fast. Second, taking advantage of the multi-experiences that we're offering with VoltMX Go, as well as connecting all of their back-end systems seamlessly. There was something that Adam said that really stood out for me during that simple little interview that we had. And I got to tell you, I really liked how Adam said it takes a brave CIO to fully modernize their app portfolio. And frankly, we get it. It can be a lot to take on. But with VoltMX Go, you can do so with confidence and without the fear of disruption or rewrites. Now, VoltMX Go is the ultimate solution for app modernization. And now I'm going to hand it over to Andrew. Andrew, why don't you take it away here, dive into a little bit more detail about VoltMX Go and the value, and what we're releasing here today. So Andrew, take it away, please.
Thanks so much, Rich, and thanks for the great introduction there. So I'm super excited about this announcement. You know, frankly, it's an inflection point in the journey for the Domino platform and our customers. And really the three areas I'm going to dive into today is really explain a little bit more about the value of MX, also then start to explore what are the features specifically for MX Go 2.0, and then we'll get into what is the business value for the Domino developer, the business, and the bottom line. So let's go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So here's a view of the low-code market in its totality. A couple of things that I want to point out is obviously demand outstrips supply in terms of you don't have enough professional developers in the world building applications, so they need to be super productive to be able to build the pixel perfect applications for your enterprise. Also, you need to be able to enable your citizen developers, your business users throughout your organization to build those situational apps, do business automation, and to enable the start of new solutions as well. And what we're seeing in the market is a disparity between some companies buying a professional development platform and some companies also buying a citizen development platform. And what does that ultimately lead to? It leads to fragmentation across building applications across your enterprise. It means a double investment. And also it means that the citizen developers can't be autonomous within the guide rails that IT actually sets for things such as empowerment and what they can use in the enterprise, but also those governance rules. So we see there's a huge set of opportunity inside organizations to buy one unified application development platform that spans both professional and citizen developers, one cost, one price, and also that piece in the middle where professional developers can help citizen developers be autonomous. So with that, let's have a look at VoltMX. So here's a view of the platform, and it enshrines a lot of the things that I've been talking about. It's the industry's leading and only combined low-code platform for citizen and professional developers. The three things that make it really special are, first, a persona-specific interface for those citizen developers with a really easy on-ramp to building applications. Secondly, for those professional developers, we give them a pixel-perfect app dev environment with linkages to test data management to their DevOps processes so they can build the type of highly customizable applications they're used to. All of this is built on the third component, where it provides one platform for integration, for governance, and in connecting to all of your application, being it the data, your SaaS properties, or your applications. And that single platform on the bottom also provides the citizen developer governance infrastructure that you need to make your citizen developers productive. So one platform, one price, reduce complexity, and you can get everyone being productive inside your organization. So now we have a foundation for what MX Go is. What did we add with MX Go 2.0? So here it is. There are four major pillars. You can almost view it from left to right and say, on the left here, with the Domino Adaptor and First Touch, we've greatly simplified making connectivity from the Vault object services to Domino at the back end. So if you like, Domino is now a first-class integration with the Domino server, like any other application that we have out there, right? So it's using the Domino REST APIs to do that. And the First Touch experience provides a wizard to guide you through connection between your Vault Foundry and your backend like that. And also the team has provided a recipe example, so you can learn from this recipe database to understand how you would do it with your own applications, or if you want to build a new application that has an MX front end and a Domino backend, we'll show you how to do it. The next area is the design import. So now you've got the connectivity bedded down. What are you going to do about where do you want to start? You could simply just start and take your existing forms and views and those fields that you use every day and then starts afresh in building an application. But we've gone one step further. We allow you to import that design directly and build that first design directly in Iris. So we're cutting down the development time significantly at that point. So you have your data in Domino, we've imported the design, and then it's up to you to then work with things such as Figma or Sketch to bring a new design look and feel to your application. And there's one more thing, which is really fantastic. Another sort of first for our organization. So we're bringing, in addition to JavaScript, we're bringing VoltFormula to the platform as a first-class new language to VoltMX. So that means if you're a Domino developer, you can continue to use your app formulas. You can literally cut and paste them from your Domino designer, put them into Iris, which is our professional developer IDE, and they will run natively. Now, if you're a JavaScript programmer, you will see those you'll see that VoltFormula translated into JavaScript. So whether you're a JavaScript person or whether you're a traditional Domino developer, you can still maintain it. And if you're a JavaScript developer, you can take advantage of the power of the app formula. Imagine, for instance, if I wanted to create 2 new app formulas, one to send a text message, or maybe another one to check on the status of an IoT device in my home, you could do it. It's very extensible. So let's talk about the overall benefits now of putting all of these things together. The VoltMX platform, the VoltMX Go extensions. So firstly, for the Domino developers, what have we given you in your toolkit that you can use every day to extend and modernize applications? So we give you a modern user experience with an enhanced ability to create those pixel perfect applications. We give you a marketplace of widgets. You can use web components. And as I mentioned, you can import designs, experiences from Sketch and Figma to make your app look outstanding, whether it's on the desktop or wherever. Now, talking about where you want to deploy those applications, we provide that seamless multi-experience capability. So Nomad took us so far in terms of taking your existing Domino apps to an application on a mobile device. Well, imagine taking the full advantage of that mobile form factor, be it a tablet or a phone, or for that matter, a kiosk, a wearable, a desktop. How about creating a native installable applications on Linux for application? All of this you can do with VoltMX. Now, maybe, for instance, in your application, maybe there's an IoT device. Maybe you're interested in mixed reality. We know our friends at Apple have just launched a new set of mixed reality goggles, right? If that becomes important to your use case, maybe you're in the service industry. If you want to add that to your application, it's very easy with VoltMX. The next part is really the superpower for the platform. It's that enterprise integration capability that you get with the Foundry or that middleware component. Not only do you get outstanding data integration and API management, but you can really seamlessly plug and play with whatever you have in your enterprise, your favorite ERP, your mainframe, your CRM, or your web services. It's very straightforward. The next thing, as organizations have standardized on different DevOps best practices, you can take advantage of it directly. And one final thing is, it's your cloud of choice. You get to decide. The next area is really what's important to the business, right? So from a business perspective, your organization has invested in those applications and that proven business logic to run their enterprise, and they've invested in your skills. So with this product, we enable you to take those skills and use the MX platform. You get to use the code that you're already using as well. And what's really cool is that we can jointly, as new people come into the enterprise who knew JavaScript directly out of college, they can work alongside with you to help modernize those applications. And some of those future-proofing elements, just being able to build applications collaboratively around this new language to be able to use it interchangeably with VoltScript, is a huge saving for a modernization project, and also means that those applications can be maintained for the next 10 to 15 years easily. So let's go on to the last of the 3 elements, and that's really about the bottom line. You know, in our conversations with customers who try to move off the Domino platform, regularly we hear it costs at least between $250,000 to $500,000 to modernize one Domino application. And increasingly, those applications run those businesses, right? And removing them is not easy. So what this effectively does for you with all these capabilities, with First Touch, with the Domino Adaptor, with the design import, and with the VoltFormula, is we're saving you time, effort, and money, at least 60% against starting afresh with another platform which you have to bring in-house, you have to pay for, you have to learn all the types of capabilities, and then start the project afresh. So why throw out something which is proven and it works, and all the company really needs you to do is to modernize the user experience and connect it more broadly into a different set of applications or extend an existing business process. So as Richard and also Adam mentioned from ISW, this is one element of your modernization strategy. And I think, as I said, I think this is an important inflection point, an historical moment, because we're giving you the power to do more. So with that set up now, I want to hand over to Michael, who's going to take you through a demo and show you the features specifically. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Andrew, for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here. Before I get going on the demos, I do have one quick slide to illustrate what you are about to see. As you can see, Domino is a first-class citizen in VoltMX Go, and it's more than just access to data elements. Using the Domino REST API, we have a very powerful way to connect VoltMX via the Go exclusive Domino Adaptor. Every part of what you will see today is enabled by these foundational layers. The First Touch functions as a proof of life and a jumping off point for admins and developers. In the box, you will have a setup assistant and a simple application that gives you a buttery smooth first experience with Foundry. Design Import, then, is a tool you will use to build upon your Domino investment with new apps that target whatever use case your business needs. Finally, VoltFormula will give you a head start on doing quick coding tasks as well as integrating and consuming logic from your existing Domino applications. Enough slides. It's time to see Go in action. The first thing you'll do after you install Foundry is look for the Get Started button. This launches what we call the First Touch application. First Touch is especially nice when using our dev environment on Kubernetes. It literally builds all of the connections you need to get started with no additional configuration. You provide the Domino REST API server and credentials, and away it goes. Everything we are doing here is protected by Domino security and respects the Domino design model. We will have enablement and explain all of this in detail, as it feels a little like magic when you first see it. Just keep in mind that Foundry runs the backend just like Domino. This is running in real time, and as you can see, it does not take very long to be up and running with your first application. This is a simple enough application that you can easily understand and yet complex enough to show off some really nice features. You've heard me say it before, it's all about the apps. And while this application looks nice in a browser, when you bring this out to mobile, you start to see some of the real power of MX come into view. Using the same concepts and targeting the install form factor, this app adapts beautifully to a small screen. This is the first-rate experience designed by the engineering team to make sure you have a great start with VoltMX Go. And all of this data is being saved and loaded directly from Domino as we go. Right now, we're also building out other examples, such as this training scheduling system, and give you even more real-world examples for how you can leverage VoltMX Go in your enterprise. Running on Foundry, these apps remain 100% powered by HCL Domino, and you can run them yourself as a trial. I have got a little ahead of myself, though, showing you the apps without looking at the tooling needed to make them. This is Iris. Iris is the designer for VoltMX Go. Iris is easy enough to use that I can do it, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble. You don't have to start with some huge project to get oriented. At the top left, you have a Project Explorer. Across the page to the right is a rich properties panel. Then at the bottom left gives you a library of widgets to compose with. Let's start off with a JavaScript example. In this example, we're stating explicitly that we want to set the context of our work to be our NSF file. And you can see the IntelliSense helping along with the new JavaScript. Wait, this is great, but for today, I'll cut short and skip to the Easy button. For an Easy button, you can visually navigate from the component you want to code against, pick the event you want to do something, and then add a formula block to your workflow in the action editor. And this is instantly recognizable code. This code is going to be familiar to you because it's the formula language that you've known from Domino. If you want, you can even use @debug instead of troubleshooting the JavaScript. But because it's a JavaScript implementation, there's a proper debugger if you want. If you're watching carefully, you'll see there's IntelliSense here as well. Now, when we save and preview the app and do the little login dance and get the screen configured just so, you can see that Tom Cruise has no email address. And now we run our action and bam. One quick button push later and we've populated the email field. That's run via formula and will run on any device that MX can target, which is pretty much any device. While you saw design import working in some of the other contexts already, I do want to show it in a little more detail and how design import is going to change your world for the better. In this example, we got the Big Oak Company. They provide golfing equipment. This fictional establishment has long been a notes shop, and now they want to equip their sellers to go mobile, so a tablet is the go-to device. As you can see, the app in Notes is pretty standard, so we'll give design import a spin. We start out with a fresh project that's empty. Notice again in the menu we have Domino import as a top level first class citizen. We're going to create a new Foundry app that will manage this data flow for us. We'll create a new identity service using a few bits of information from the Domino REST API. And then we can get down to the business of what design and data we are going to access from Domino. We select what forms and views are exposed with a very slick interface that gives us feedback to help us succeed. As you can see, we're working on agents, so stay tuned. Then, very quickly, we get an app built that represents a starting place for your next app. The dashboard gives us access to all of the individual elements so you can check out your forms and views, do CRUD operations, and so on. I know, though, you probably want to see more than just this start, this functional basics. So here's a quick demo of just how easy it is. One pass through to make a beautiful app. You can visually compose your elements, changing the properties, locking in those relationships, and then immediately preview the app. I think it's looking pretty nice, and it should cut down on the errors in the field. Now, since it's all about the apps, I do have one more thing I want a quick shout about. VoltScript. VoltScript is in progress and on time. Soon we'll deliver the ability to get working on a new scripting project with meaningful upgrades on the ecosystem and the opportunity to bring your favorite language to more places that you want to run it. That's all I have time to share today. Thank you, and I can't wait to see what you build with VoltMX Go. I'll hand it back to you now, Sharon, to finish up. Thanks so much.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm Sharon, and I am here to share the key takeaways and how to get started, and as Michael said, finish up today. So we saw here earlier today in Andrew's section, and I have it up here again to really reiterate the key benefits of MX Go. With MX Go, we're offering really new ways to modernize and extend your existing applications. So whether it's a refresh front end, new integrations, or even leveraging the latest cutting edge technology that Andrew said, right, AR, VR, into your applications. Making sure that you're able to do all of this while future-proofing your investment in both Domino and your developers. I know in the Domino audience today that we have, the Domino audience today have between 10 to thousands of applications. So with MX Go, we're really offering you a easy way to take on huge, gigantic modernization projects quickly and without the risk and costs associated with a rewrite. All right. So before we proceed to Q&A, I always like to leave people goodies, freebies. First up, we already have the next webinar lined up for you. So we saw a quick demo from Michael today, but there's really a lot more to show. We've got a ton of features as part of this release. So we'll be launching a deep dive webinar series that's going to be a little bit more technical. And we're starting the first one with VoltFormula on August 9th. So that's 3 weeks away from today. I'm leaving the QR code here for a second if you want to stay and register for your spot now. And then next are a couple of things that are in the works. So we're planning to release MX Go into the Sophie catalog. And then like Michael kind of teased out in the demo, the next release you can expect to have VoltScript, which will enable you to execute Lotus script in MX, but that will be in the next big release. And lastly, VoltMX Go is available for purchase today. Again, I have the QR code handy if you want to start talking to one of our MX Go sellers. We're also offering a bunch of services from the Lab Services team to help you get started. So they can help you assess your current Domino environment, identify potential VoltMX Go candidate applications. They'll also help with the installation. And if your team requires training, we offer up to 200 hours of mentoring around your modernization or extension project. So at this point, I'm going to invite everybody back on camera and we can proceed to the Q&A portion. And again, if you haven't already, you have a question now, use the question panel and drop us a question. I am going to start pulling up some questions. And we're actually starting with a pretty hot one. About pricing. So maybe this one is for Richard or Andrew. So how is VoltMX Go priced? I'm on a CCB license today.
Yeah, Sharon, that's a great question and a great sort of opener there. So part of the design point when we first put together VoltMX Go was to say we were going to give you more value on top of CCB, right? So if you're a customer today, the best license that you can be on is CCB. It's the one, it's our premier license. It has all of the goodies with Nomad, the Domino REST APIs available to you. And it's the flagship in terms of what we're investing in going further forward, right? So you know what that pricing is. It's subscription-based pricing, and it's predictable. Now, the design point for MX Go was to say, you can get all of that, and then the MX Go and MX capabilities for an incremental 20%. So if you were paying us $1,000 today per year, for argument's sake, you'd be paying us $1,200 for the combined package, right? Similar sort of licensing terms, you get all of the similar entitlements you get with Domino CCB, with MX, with the MX Go add-on components, all for that simple price.
That's great. All right, hope we got the pricing question out of the way. It's a hot one. All right, is VoltMX Go compatible with Nomad Web?
I'll go ahead and take a shot at that one. So the short answer is yes. There is no reason that you wouldn't use them together. They do complementary things. So if you're deploying Nomad Web for your users who already have or would like to use that interface, Nomad Web will work great. If you're going to deploy an app or use VoltMX Go to reach some other audience, then that's also completely appropriate and will work perfectly.
All right, while I have you, Michael, this one might be a good one for you as well, or maybe Jason. So we had mentioned formula language and Java, but how does Lotus script behave in these new applications?
So the formula and scripting, I'll split into two different bits and then take Java as a third part, if that sort of might make sense. We have the formula language and VoltFormula coming already in the box today. It is actually very well integrated into Iris. It gives you the opportunity to really understand the relationship between formula and the formulatic language and the JavaScript implementation. You don't have to get into JavaScript, but if you want to, there's a lot of additional power there. Looking at the scripting side of it and looking at what we're doing in the EA, in the early access that I previewed a little bit, that's something that's actually going to run the script itself. And the Volt script is an incremental change. It actually does evolve the language a good bit and gives you a lot more power. But that change is going to run standalone at first. I want to make sure that that's something that you can see. There's a lot of other interesting things in the works, and we'll talk about them as the early access progresses. Deep dives coming. But that scripting thing is a really exciting topic. And then the Java side of it as the third element of that question. Java is not something that we are talking about or moving directly right now, but all of the code that you could run in Domino Java-wise, you could also run externally in Foundry now if you wanted to move that logic. If you want to just execute that logic in Domino as Java code right now, the Domino object services that the adapter uses don't do that, but Domino integration services are available, and Foundry can call that code and access that code. If you've got REST APIs built yourself on X pages, you can call those REST APIs just fine from Foundry today. So yes, there is an absolute path you can go forward and continue leveraging that investment. It looks a little bit different because it doesn't have to be transformed in the same way. I hope that helps.
I think I could add two things to that, Michael, that I think you highlighted on a little bit. And the first one is, it's just amazing that the formulatic language that we have all been using for years and years inside Notes and Domino to build these amazing applications is now not only in MX Go, but extending itself to support all of the functions that OpenFormula supports and extensible so that you yourselves can add new functions. And the best thing about it, Michael, as you pointed out, is all under the covers, it's all JavaScript. It's all something that's very accessible, modern, and understandable. So it's just a really exciting world. And the last thing I wanted to say, Michael, and I think you were headed there and didn't quite go there, was Lotus Script as a language has not run standalone since 1994. And now it does with the new incarnation of VoltScript. And it's just going to be incredible once you get your hands on it with the EA.
Awesome. Okay, I have a bunch of Leap related questions. So I'm going to point it back to either Richard or Andrew, and there's a couple of them. So, hey, it feels like is Domino Volt renamed to Leap, but more importantly, how is Leap different from VoltMX Go?
Why don't you start with that one?
Wow, that one's pretty meaty, actually.
Yeah, I think addressing the Leap portion, right? The citizen development portion of MX versus MX Go, I think, yeah, that was the crux of the question.
I mean, you can tell by what we're doing, there are some strategic elements to our product strategy. As an example, Foundry is one of those. It's an amazing capability that we want to integrate into all of our products, right? Domino, DX for that matter. Another strategic capability is actually VoltFormula that Jason was talking about, right? So our goal is to make sure that no matter what product you're using, you're going to be using VoltFormula, right? And what does that do? That really helps developers gain familiarity with the product. We created, so we have Leap, which is our citizen development capability. It's available with DX. As of May, we put it and made it part of VoltMX as well. And it's also available for Domino as well as Domino Leap. The thing that's interesting is when you get to VoltMX Go is that we make available both incarnations of Leap to you as a piece of value add, because we recognize that you may already be using Domino Leap on your Domino investment today, your CCB license, and we, as part of MX Go, want you to continue to use it. But if you've never invested in Domino Leap, as an example, on Domino, and you want to start fresh with those citizen development capabilities directly on MX, integrating with Foundry, then that's why we include Leap in the box. Right? So ostensibly, you can take anything from Domino Leap and import it into Leap, and it works because it's all Leap at the end of the day. So in VoltMX Go, I know it's a long answer, but you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, I think, look, I think Andrew touched on all those key aspects. And for many of you, you can see how we're aligning our application development journey, leveraging Leap, leveraging VoltMX, MX Go, and Domino. There are very few vendors out there today that can provide that full life cycle from an application development perspective and make it a very seamless journey. And that's frankly one of the core tenets that this team has been very focused on is, I would say, three major things. Right. The first one, how do we make this transition simple and intuitive, right? That's number one of the first key tenets. Right. The other one was all about fast. Yes, how do we do things and make it very fast and speed, right? And ensure that, you know, the final one of that, we're not impacting your existing applications and reducing that risk that frankly Adam from ISW talked about, that many companies think about when they're actually modernizing their applications. So for us, we're not only just looking at this from one product perspective, but an entire solution view that we believe will differentiate us from our competition and allow our customers to have a seamless journey in that application development and low code initiatives that they have for digital transformation today.
Yeah. I'd like to perhaps add to a couple of things you said there, Richard, sort of blow it out a little bit. You know, we, as you can imagine, have looked at Mendex and OutSystems and Flutter. You know, we benchmark them against our own product to see how easy is it to learn how to use them and what the on-ramp looks like, right? So we've taken, you know, Leap to see how easy it is for someone to get familiar with it. And by far, it's the easiest thing for a citizen developer to get started with. Also, we notice in the MX realm that in terms of, I have a new project and I want to build something that's pixel perfect and custom to exactly what I want to build, there is no other solution on the market that can enable you to do that. And considering that, you know, most of the Domino applications that you've built and love out there are first of a kind, it's really important that you do that and you don't have to wait on a business partner to create a template for you. And then the last thing I would sort of mention, and it was a little bit sort of related to the question you answered, Michael, which is, remember what Michael showed you was a new front end to an existing Domino app that was still accessible from the Notes client or accessible from Nomad, right, at the end of the day. Now, if you were doing that with Mendex, then you couldn't do that, right? Because those two sets of data would be isolated between those new applications. So if you're actually faced with a modernization project, even with 10 or 100 or 1,000 applications, how do you do that without an all or nothing approach? And MX Go allows you to modernize at a timeline and at a budget that you can afford at the pace that you want to sort of take it without the risk of a completely new rewrite or implementation. So,
or impacting your business.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right, that I was looking through a bunch of the related questions in that spiel. I think we covered it all. So I was like, okay, I think you're like hitting on those points. We're going back just a tiny bit technical, you know, so does Domino 12 need to be installed? Does the REST API have to be on Domino V12?
Yes.
Yep.
The short answer,
yes.
Yes,
the
it
short
does.
answer is yes. We're supporting, and for those of you who are already looking at the 14 early access and what's coming, we're also working on the later versions. So we fully expect to support later versions of Domino. This isn't a lock you in.
Yeah, I think Michael, the other thing to think about, right, is based on, and Sharon, we did that survey of the people that will be attending, right, and the fact that we saw from that data that over 80% of the people that were attending this webinar are already on version 12. they're on that version, and so they can take advantage of these capabilities, frankly, today, starting today. So, you know, there's no reason for you not to try it out and give us feedback on, you know, what else we can do in our next release to continue the improvements that we want to make.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richard, this is a really hot one, and I want to ask this question so we get it out of the way. Okay, you ready? Is HCL looking to replace Domino with VoltMX Go? We got to come out and say it, Richard.
Yeah, no, not at all. This is not so. And I hopefully you heard this from all of us as we've, you know, during this webinar, but even as we've been, you know, working on MX Go for the last 14 months or so. It has all been about how do we extend the capabilities of Domino. Right, that is really, Domino is our franchise. It frankly is our, you know, our key product. It's, you know, every person that you're seeing on video here lives it, breathes it, and believes in Domino. So this for us was just part of that overall journey that we've been on over the last 4 years of how do we continue to add value for the Domino instances that you have today, but also how are we preparing for those, for the future aspects of Domino. And frankly, when you think about it, there are 3 key things that we've heard from our customers on a regular basis around that MX Go actually delivers upon. The first one being, you know, Domino at times was not easy to integrate and with back-end systems. The team has worked heavily with the Domino REST APIs in that journey to start to allow for cleaner, simpler integration. And MX Go will do that, by the way, with Foundry as well. So we're again adding on to that capability. The other thing we heard from many of our customers is, look, we need more modern scripting languages, right? We have people coming out of university who we want to get up and running very quickly, and we want to leverage, you know, a modern stack at that point. So that was number 2 with this one. And then I think the third one has always been for us around how do we make it fast, right? So I think you'll see here, and based on the demo that you saw with the wizard capabilities, the import capabilities, we're not only reducing risk and cost, but we're actually improving how quickly you can actually move those applications to VoltMX Go and leverage these new capabilities. So the answer is flat out no, and we see a long, you know, life for Domino, frankly, here in the future.
Awesome. And then kind of related to that, so we said that, you know, we launched VoltMX as the platform in 2020. So can you share a bit of the history of VoltMX? Is it actually a mature product?
You want to touch that one and I can go on to that?
Yeah, absolutely. The origins of that platform date back to about 2007, 2008. With a company called Coney, who created that code originally. And that was at the time that the whole mobile application business was sort of exploding, right? And what we've seen over time is, you know, mobile development, low-code development, actually for that matter, BPM, BPA, is all consolidating under one umbrella, right? For those professional developers to build applications. So we entered into a partnership with Temenos. Let me think about it, like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, or more? 3 at the end of June.
Yep, 3 and change with the Temenos organization. And they saw the potential of that product. And frankly, they acquired them because they were building these DBX, these banking experience applications on this platform that were beloved by their customers. So they acquired the company, and then they said, well, what do we do with all these other companies who were getting value from the platform in these other non-banking industries? So we entered into a partnership, a sole licensing agreement, and then we created the VoltMX product. So in terms of customers, in terms of scale, this is a proven solution. So VoltMX is used by, you know, governments, by state governments. It's used by major institutions in manufacturing, retail industries, all across the board at scales which are almost unbelievable. You know, we have customers running 3 million users a month on the platform, and believe it or not, the platform has been tested to 20 million users on the platform. So there's no top limit in terms of the scale, and because it's trusted by governments throughout the world and state in the US, it's secure. So that's what you're looking for. So I think it has the pedigree for the next generation of applications with Domino for the future inside your businesses.
I would extend that one statement for you, Andrew. It's secure, and what you're looking at with Go builds completely on the Domino security. It doesn't just trust the Go security, it actually builds off the Domino security. You still have absolute control from the Domino side.
Yeah, you're not giving anything up. Wonderful, Michael.
Awesome. So we've got a couple on VoltScript, so I'm going to combine them as best as I can. So this person says all our apps are LotusScript. So do they all have to be rewritten as VoltScript? Part 2, is VoltScript really JavaScript?
The answer to both is no. So VoltScript is an evolved LotusScript that is compatible with LotusScript. And no, under the covers, VoltScript is not JavaScript. Michael?
No, that's exactly as clear as I was going for.
But this gives us an opportunity, Sharon, to say something, maybe plug a little bit what Michael showed. The reason we are working on VoltScript, and Richard, you talked about this before, is that LotusScript was created in the early 90s to be somewhat compatible with what people who were graduating from college understood as programming paradigms. And at that time, it was, Visual Basic 3, 4, etc. What we're trying to do with just some amazing engineers, including Bob Balaban, who was responsible for piece parts of putting LotusScript into the backend classes of Notes and Domino, is we're trying to take a modern implementation of it. So actual easy ability to do flow controls and all the kinds of things that modern programmers understand and take for granted in a language, we're bringing those in. And that's really what VoltScript is. It's compatible with all your existing code, but mere mortals graduating from college in 2023, they can look at it and go, I totally understand this. And I can extend it. I can add new value, as Richard was bringing out. It's not just I can move these apps. It's that, wow, look at what I can do now with the code that I've been running for 10, 15, 20 years.
And a lot of syntax updates that make it more consistent with what people are doing today with more modern Visual Basic and more modern other scripting languages.
All right, we have to talk about this one about X pages, right? So can you import and modernize web applications developed in X pages into VoltMX Go?
So there's no automation around that at this time. If, like I said, you're using X pages for an API access as a backend, that is out of the box standard. If you're already using a front end and you're serving with the NHTTP stack and you want to have that visible, that can be exposed. There's nothing preventing you from doing that, but there's no automation to move that X pages created front end into an app. There are bits that would allow, and we can go into deeper dives as MX function, that have nothing to do specifically with Domino, that allow you to integrate existing web parts back in. And that's somewhat similar to how you do that with DX and other parts of the portfolio, where we really want to make sure you have the ability to leverage your app in every situation.
All right. Question about how can we learn more about MX Go in terms of training courses? Nobody? Is that a question for me?
So I think you were sort of alluding to it, right? So two things are actually happening. One of which is you're scheduling a series of webinars, and the team that's here with Jason, Michael, and the rest of the Innovation Lab have been doing, these tours at Engage, DNUG, and various places. And they have a whole set of presentation material and workshops, frankly, for you to learn MX Go. So we're going to deliver those in various forms. And I'm sure we'll also bring those to you. We're going to bring them at Cloudsphere coming up very shortly, and we'll bring them to other places. The other thing that's going to happen is we have a rich software university, and we're already working with Tiffany Amos on making sure that those training classes will be available within that format, and also trying to figure out whether there's a certification, appropriate certification for VoltMX Go. So stay tuned for more information, but it's definitely on the roadmap.
And I think, Andrew, to add to that, this is Francois, there's plenty of VoltMX education out there already. And I think in order to get started, first learn VoltMX, because that's the foundation. And then the VoltMX Go components are add-ons. So that education is already available, certification is already available and ready to go immediately.
Great point.
Yep, that's great.
Awesome. And then if you are signed up for our newsletter, Marketing Plug, I have all of that information that goes out, bi-weekly. So yeah, links to certifications, when the next webinar is happening, all of that is just going to be in my webinar. So subscribe if you haven't already. We are 2 minutes to time, so I think this is a great ending question. So is this available on FlexNet for download?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so
It's available.
I think we made it available on Monday or Tuesday on FlexNet. So it's been available before the webinar and is available today.
And it's also available for partners as well.
Yeah.
All right. So it's more so not so much a question, but a comment. But somebody does say that they are impressed with the VoltMX Go technology and that they are excited. So I thought we end on that. It's a great concept and great technology, and they're excited. So I think that's a that's a good high to end on. Yeah, so I'm actually going to close out Q&A right now, well, shortly. Thank you for all the questions. We will, if they were not answered back to you privately, we're going to consolidate the rest of these into a blog. And then I'm going to flash our last QR code to contact sales. Like we say, people are ready to talk to you here. But Richard, why don't you just give us your closing statements?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sharon. So look, I think folks on the phone here, we met with many of you about 14, 15 months ago at Engage, actually, started talking about this concept of VoltMX Go, right? We had been looking at this for months beforehand, but we wanted to validate it with our customers, with our partners, and overwhelmingly people were excited about it. And I just wanted to first say thank you to the team here, right? We made a commitment at that point to all of you that we would deliver this within a year, and we did, right? And so, thank you to Michael and Jason, you, Andrew, Francois, Adam, Sharon, the broader team for really, in a very short period of time, pulling together, what we believe is that, again, that next step in that journey of how we're continuing to extend the value of Domino to all of you. And so in closing, I'd like to thank all of you again for taking the time to spend with us, to learn about where we are today and where we are going with MX Go. And really, we're looking forward to all of you leveraging MX Go on your journey to extend the capabilities of Domino within your enterprises. So again, thank you. And you'll be hearing a lot more in future webinars, as well as for those of you in the United States, we have Collabsphere, as Andrew noted, coming up at the end of August in Chicago, where we'll actually be drilling down to another level in many of those sessions as well around the synergies between MX Go, Domino, and VoltMX. So again, thank you, Sharon, for pulling all this together, and thank you again to all of you for joining us today. And cheers, and I hope you all have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.